A while ago, I was randomly browsing stories online when a headline caught my eyes. I had to read through the article twice and then double check to make sure I had not accidentally been redirected to the Babylon Bee. Sadly, it appears that this is a genuine report, but I felt it was worth going through to roast the article as much as possible. And when you see the article, you will realize the pun was intended. She let ChatGPT read her coffee grounds, then filed for divorce. If that doesn't grab your attention, I'm not sure what will. A woman in Greece is divorcing her husband after ChatGPT played fortune teller and claimed her husband was cheating on her. According to a Greek City Times report, the couple asked the AI chatbot to look at a photograph of the coffee grounds left behind in her husband's cup of Greek coffee and practice tasiography, the ancient art of divining present secrets or future fates based on patterns left behind in the tea leaves or coffee. After looking at the residue at the bottom of their cups, ChatGPT had some shockingly specific things to say. According to the report, the AI claimed to see that the husband was secretly fantasizing about a woman whose name started with an E, and was fated to begin an affair with her. In case that wasn't enough, ChatGPT's response to the woman's own cup was the claim that the affair had already started. Some people take fortune telling seriously, but usually only from humans practicing divination. But what the husband saw as quirky, funny moment, his wife saw as serious and accurate description of reality. She told her husband to leave, announced to her children that she was ending her marriage, and served him with legal papers 3 days later. As a legal matter, it's hard to say how a judge will view this. There is no real precedent for citing a robot oracle as evidence of infidelity in a court of law anywhere. Although there is one about declaring a house is haunted before you sell it in New York State. But what's fascinating isn't the legalities so much as what it says about the culture. At this point, I'd like to interject and make my own observations. To clarify, this event appears to have happened in Greece, and from doing a bit of digging, there does not appear to be any actual evidence of the ex-husband's infidelity, just the virtual claim reported. However, this appeared convincing enough for this woman to up sticks and leave. And this got me to thinking. Sometimes, maybe the trash does take itself out. Tasiography isn't some novelty party trick. It's thousands of years old and practiced across coffee and tea drinking cultures from Turkey to China and beyond. The idea that symbols and swirls in a cup could reveal your fate is a perfect example of how people see stories and randomness, whether a constellation or coffee residue. That some people want to outsource mystic rituals to AI feels almost predetermined. This reported Greek marital strife is arguably a good reason not to do so, or at least not to call it wisdom. And it's not like ChatGPT actually knows how to read coffee grounds. It wasn't trained on tasiography. What it can do is make educated guesses based on the patterns it sees in an image and what people have said about similar shapes or symbols on the internet. In other words, making stuff up in a convincing tone just like a human would. Oh wait, is that a jab at me? It turns out that a convincing tone is all it takes for some real people, and it's not like this is the first instance. tarot card readings with ChatGPT was an early demonstration of how flexible the AI could be in its activities. The same goes for making astrology charts and palm reading. But if you stop treating it like entertainment, and like a real psychic answer, it can cause real emotional damage. I understand that people will be upset by this. Woman divorces man over nothing. And I can see how this would be stressful in the immediate term and cause pain to her ex-husband and their kids. But look at it from the other perspective. A woman with minimally a personality disorder is separating from a guy of her own free will, leaving him with more peace in the long term. I mean, you have to admit, AI will get high fives from the so-called manosphere for this one. It reminds me of something that was relayed to me many years ago, relating to the author John Milton. After Mr. Milton was married, he wrote his famous poem, Paradise Lost. And after the passing of his wife, years later, he wrote the accompanying tome, Paradise Regained. Of course, there are some pedants who will naturally point out that Milton's final wife stayed with him until his death and outlived him by 30 odd years. I know you'll come after me in the comments, but can you not take a joke? In all seriousness though, the underlying issue for this story is that AI has become smart enough now to understand and use the Ferengi Rule of Acquisition number 76.
Must I quote you the 76th rule of acquisition?
The 76th?
Every once in a while, declare peace. It confuses the hell out of your enemies.
Females and finances don't mix. Rule of acquisition 94.
My friendship with the AI is not so easily bought though. I will continue to be wary of this developing threat and will always expect Skynet. Till next time.